Wow. Welcome to Targeted, the show for masculinity and success. And I'm your host, Atlas Aultman, former military commander turned best-selling author, now bringing you a podcast that you can use. We're sharing stories from highly successful men so that you can figure it out for yourself. Welcome. This is Targeted.
All right, welcome back to Targeted Podcast. Today, I have another first. Not other first pro fighters, not people who make a difference, not men who know what's going on. A first because I get two people
yes, sir.
of awesome quality in the studio today. I have Amun, Cosme, and Lathon Lawson.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man, I'm always...
You can just call us Kid and Play.
Oh, yeah, Kid and Play.
Yeah, that's what we do. Yeah, that's what
I
we do.
love it.
Let's
go. So Kid and Play. Let's go there. Let's go there. Before we go there, though, I want to give you guys something real quick. This is what I've been giving my first guest.
My man. Thank you, dude.
Yeah, that is that's a red beard. It's a American pirate.
Nice.
And he was known for beating the shit out of his crew. and like, you know, if you don't like the morale, we'll continue the beatings, that kind of stuff. No, it's Blackbeard's flag. They created it in Hollywood. No one owns it, so I modified it and made it my flag.
That's awesome, man.
Made a gingerbeard flag.
Nice.
So, as the host of the show, that's what's going on there. So let's jump right into there. Before we do, though, let me introduce you guys. Let me let you introduce yourselves to people who may not have seen you, because I've seen you. I'm following both of you on social media. I know you guys do a lot of work, and you're in the community making a difference in so many different ways. But not everyone knows everybody. So I'm going to start off. Who wants to go first? You don't have to raise your hand.
Go ahead.
All right, Moon.
No rocket scissors?
No.
All right. So as far as like difference that I'm making like in the community.
Yeah.
So I would say when most people see me, the first thing they see is the fighter, because it's the flash in the pan, right? Oh, this guy fights. He does this thing that a lot of people don't do for a living. But I've always told people I'm a martial artist that fights. I'm not a fighter. It's a complete difference.
Yeah.
All right. Like I'm in it for the journey. Like when I decide I don't want to fight anymore, I'm still going to train martial arts. I'm still going to teach martial arts. And martial artists kind of take a duty to give back. It's literally an unwritten rule for anyone who is a serious martial artist. Like your duty is to take the knowledge that you've given and bestow it upon others who are going to embark on this journey. And then you learn that it's their journey, not your journey. So you can only give them the part of the knowledge, and what they do with it is up to them. And that's how like it evolves. And I would say my biggest impact on the community is doing that for my youth. I tell people that, you have kids? I'm like, you have 70. And they look at me, I'm like, yep, I got 70 plus kids.
and I feed them all.
Yeah.
Knowledge. With knowledge. That's awesome. So you don't identify as a pro fighter, even though you are. You identify as a lifelong martial artist.
That fights.
And that explains a whole lot. That explains a whole lot.
Absolutely.
So how did you get into coaching a martial artist?
So...
Tell them what you said before you coached me.
Oh, all right. So before I started coaching Moon, I had already trained with someone, like kind of took him under the wing a little bit, a local guy from our area. And, you know, I was just trying to help him out, get him to the next level, just teach him the ropes and stuff like that, teach him how to be on time, teach him like the little things, you know, the little things matter. And that didn't go so well. Yeah. So I kind of was like, you know what? I'm not doing that ever again, because it took a lot out of me, you know. You
said, I'm never doing it again.
I said, I'm never doing it again.
The first time you went down that road, you said no thanks?
It bit me in the ass, and I was like, you know what? I'm done with that. I'm just going to focus on myself. So then maybe like a year or two later, Moon is in the gym with his old team. And, they're still currently on the team, but he trains full-time with us now. But Moon's in the gym training, getting ready for his first fight. I had already had like 4 or 5 fights or whatever, right? And we train together, and he likes to say I almost threw him out of the ring.
I have footage of this.
Oh, okay.
But I don't remember it like that.
I have footage of this.
I will probably put the footage in.
Yeah,
Watch it.
I just remember him being really light, you know, and I was just lifting. So, we trained together, man. And he was like, dude, hey, man, help me out. I want you to help me out, stuff like that.
You know who you want in your corner.
Yeah, man.
And you know who you want to be in the corner for.
Exactly. And
you change your mind.
he kind of convinced me. No. He convinced me. He convinced me because he said, "Hey, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna get your number." I was like, "Yeah, everybody says that. You know how in the MMA community, everybody in the fighting world, like, I'm gonna come train with you, man. Hey, man, me and you, we're gonna train together." Yeah. And they never hit you up. He hit me up consistently. Yeah, and I was like, "Okay, this dude's pretty serious. I love it, and he's pretty good." So that's how we kind of got started, man. From there, just teaching them the ropes.
We got martial artist who does pro fighting. And you have coach who does pro coaching. So how does Kid and Play into this?
Well, he's light skinned, I'm dark skinned.
So it's that easy. It's that easy. Hey, light skinned, dark skinned 90s babies, like, you know.
What's crazy is I
thought it was like you guys both went for a shin kick at the same time.
No. That would have been a cool story.
At the end of the fights, you know, we got a little Kid and Play dance.
Yeah, man, we do our little Kid and Play dance.
We like, all right, in a grander scheme of things, we like to have a good time on the mats, off the mats, anytime we do anything. Yeah. So that's like, we're the version of house party. Like, you know, when people come.
It's a mobile house party.
Yeah, it's a mobile house party. Wherever we go, like, we're the life of the party. It's just like, that's Kid and Play.
That's Kid and Play.
That's it, man.
Have you been told that you're a Kid and Play, like, your whole feel, your whole vibe, if you will, and they're
we kind of adopted it ourselves.
Yeah, we kind of adopted it, so we kind of tell people, hey, we're Kid and Play. So
now you know. Now I see it.
I didn't see it before. I can do it with my hair though. I've done it before. I put my hair up like
man. I don't got to do much.
I have a picture. I have evidence.
Oh my gosh, I need all these pictures, man.
So
throw them in there.
There's one thing that like part of my gift. I feel like whatever you believe in, God, Buddha, Allah, atheist, whatever. I don't care, whatever. If you believe in the higher power, I feel like everybody is gifted with something. Yep. I believe my gift is communication and connection. And part of my ability to communicate, just growing up in a harder environment, you know, old school dad. My pops was born in the 40s. Okay. 1948, so post-World War II era. Yeah. Black man. Like, my mom's Puerto Rican, so you have like this, I'm just like this Puerto Rican's hardworking, black man in the 40s hardworking, just like hard work ethic is like in my veins, like how we do things. And it was always do more than you say. So now if I can speak well, I feel like I have to 10x that because I don't want to come off as a person who's just being braggadocious or, you know, full of myself. And I tell people, like, I do care what people think, but unless you matter to me, it's not enough to impact my actions. You sort of say, you know?
Oh, I see that a lot.
Yeah.
You know, being in the podcast world, I get to talk to a lot of people, and they don't want to come across, like you said, braggadocious. Yeah. But, man, you know, you don't get on podcasts for being a nobody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, you guys, you have to do what John Maxwell says. He goes, you have to do the did before it matters. Whatever you did is what makes you who you are. Yeah. But you have to do the did before anything else. You can't just say, I'm a coach. Yeah. I'm a fight. I'm going to be a martial artist for life. This step back a minute. Mm-hmm. So in your childhood, your mom and dad, they probably gave you some advice. Yeah. And they turned you into something. If you could summarize that whole experience as a child, what would you say to men today? Because it's a different world, man. It's a different environment.
I'll do like a 1A and 1B because how something that a man gets from his father and something that a man gets from his mother, it can be the same thing but perceived two different ways because men are just we react different to things, right? It's like we're like in the state of chaos. What are the pros and cons and consequences? Not how do I feel to get the job done. Yeah. It's like we grew up poor. I make this. Now in 2024, you got to be careful making this joke. I'm like, oh, this
2025, bro.
2025. Look, 2025.
Hey, man,
all right,
we're in there.
We're in there. I used to make this joke that like, oh, it's like this is my closet cousin, and I was like, I gotta stop saying that because people thinking the wrong thing. But we were 9, 10, 11 deep in like a 2-bedroom like roach infested thing and like shitty apartment and. We would sleep in the closet to get away from all the girls. There was no room. Like the girls had the room, the parents had the room, everybody else slept in the living room. There's no more room anywhere. So there was like a walk-in closet. And me and my 6'2" cousin, who's also in the military, was like, "Yo, we just gonna take the walk-in closet, bro." Yeah. Like, and so like I was saying that as a joke one time, and he's like, "Bro, you gotta stop telling people I'm a closet cousin. No, this does not go out well." But
doesn't come off well.
Doesn't come off well. But to kind of bring it back full circle, the thing that I got. Was more something my dad said, but what I saw, and then the emotional aspect of how my mom presented the information to me. And it was a kind of a soft spot for me because there are 2 times in my life I remember I'm making my mom cry. And the first time I did it, she looked at me. I was like 12 years old. And I said something, just being a little boy, like not knowing like the effects of what I was saying. I was like, nobody asked for that. And it was like in the manner what I said. And where I grew up, you get an ass whooping for that. And it just in the heat of the moment of like me not, I was like, nobody asked for that. And it was, she was like, I just saw like, I'm about to get fucked up for this. And then it was such a learning moment. She just looked at me and she said, I want you to know one thing. A man is only as good as his word. So you got to watch what you say. And then my dad had this obsession with philosophy and religion. So he studied all religions. He started off Christian. He converted to Islam. He left Islam. And then in his library, which is part of my library now, there's the book for each religion. There's a Quran, a Torah, a Bible, a this. And it wasn't about what separates them. It's about what connects them is what's important. And he always told me, if you don't know, he says, you don't know the origin of a word, you don't know the meaning of it. So words became literal actions in my head. You say it, you do it. So if you tell me something, it's as good as a sign on a contract. And my mom just reinforcing that moment I had in my head of like, a man is only as good as his word. And I'm like, if I say it, I got to do it. And because I can communicate well, I would rather, most people take the easy route and say, I'm going to under promise and over deliver. But what if I told you exactly what I was going to do and I gave it to you? I would seem like a genius. Like, that's crazy. Isn't that wild? Like, you're going to do what you say you're going to do? Isn't it a wild concept that in 2025, you say you're going to do something and you follow through? Like, this is a mind-blowing concept. And I'm like, I grew up, like, regardless of the state that we were in financially, I saw my dad get up and work a factory job every fucking day. And then when my mom in Georgia, so it was different when where my family's originally from New York. So my dad was self-employed when we went from New York to Philly, and he peddled jewelry. So he would go get metals and wholesale and all that stuff from jewelers, from connections he had in Brooklyn and all this stuff from all these jewelry shops. And then they would get jewelry make and he would wholesale it. But back in the 90s, he could go down in Philly and go in front of a storefront and just negotiate. Hey, I'll give you 10% of earnings I'll make today. And my dad made a good living working for himself doing that. And my mom braided hair. So my mom still was at home raising the kids, doing her thing, still making. So we lived pretty decent. We still lived in the hood, but like we lived pretty decent. And then we moved to Georgia, and then you can't do that in Georgia. My dad was like, fuck, like the laws, how everything's set up is just different down here. It's just like, I can't just go to Atlanta. It's not like New York. You're talking about Georgia in the 90s. So late 90s, it was way different. He was like, yo, this is, and he just went back to, what he knew, factory worked for Georgia Pacific. I'm talking about like hard labor, like plywood factory, working on the industrial dryers, like where if they don't have an accident in 30 days, if somebody doesn't die, they get like a reward. It's like, this is nuts.
There's a ticker on the wall. It's huge.
He's
it
like,
says, no accidents in whatever amount of days. And, it's crazy. That's hard work.
That's labor. Never once did he complain. I never heard my dad complain about shit. I didn't see him shed his first tear until my uncle passed.
It's probably hard too.
And he was almost 60. So you're talking about, and I was like 24. I never saw my dad shed a tear. This my man was like as hard as a rock. Now, I have a very like yin yang relationship with my dad. Didn't have a good relationship, but like my personal belief is don't kill the messenger. Because they killed the greatest messenger on the planet.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ, right? Like, right? It's like, right? If you don't have to like the message, but if it's truthful, are you listening?
Is
like,
it for you?
Right?
How are you gonna know if you ain't listening?
I think that's a lot of what's going on today. Honestly, a lot of people want to dismiss the message because of who's portraying the message. Like, especially in like our climate socially. politically, like everything that's going on right now is because people are like, I don't want to hear that shit. And it's like, this dude's dropping gems right now. Like y'all ain't listening. It don't matter who it is or what he's saying or what he does. It's like this dude's actually saying a lot of legitimate stuff. I think that's a big part of what's going on today with like, you know, we talk about like the emasculation of men. Yes. You know, like the masculinity of women. Yeah. The poverty rate, everything, man. It has a lot to do with that, honestly.
To take it one step further, I talked with Josh Ellis about this. Because I was like, I feel like they're demonizing wanting to build a family, have less kids, 30 different ways to not get pregnant. You're not successful if you're raising. I'm like, since when has making the family structure small been a way to go forward in my head? Because I'm one of 8. Have a big family, you know, and I don't know. You can call it conspiracy theorists. This is just from a perspective of looking outside and saying, I don't care, left, right, up, down. Let me just see what's going on and why is all this like this? Like, why it feel like I said, men are getting,
definitely.
Just like I feel like it's gonna like at a point in time, I was like, it's gonna be an atom bomb. Like it's gonna get pushed down to where it can't be taken anymore, and it's gonna have a big reverse, like a reverse effect.
Yeah, I mean, there's the whole Batman theory, you know, that the easy times create easy men, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I believe that there's a cycle to everything.
Yeah,
absolutely. And the cycle that you just explained, I got 2 questions for you, by the way.
Okay.
So the cycle you just explained was both your parents work, and society today says both parents are going to work. You're both going to go to college, you're both going to go get a good job, but who's going to raise the kids? Yeah. Because when mom and dad are both working, whenever they come home after that, they ain't the same as they were back when we were growing up. It's a different society. The expectation was different back then. Now there's a little bit more leniency in both men and women, but the women are taking over more of the man roles, like you said, the masculinity piece for women. Whew.
Can I ask you a question?
Please.
Can I ask you a question? Just simple yes or no question. A chef cooks, right? Is that a job?
Yes.
People drop their kids off at daycare. Is that a job?
That's right.
You have laundry service. Is that a job?
That is a service, yes.
Okay. So I don't understand how when people in these, they want to start doing this whole role play, a man's supposed to do one, it's like, yeah, if the man goes out and do this, I got to stay at home and do this. It's like, these are all jobs. You deciding to go out into the world to get a job is now neglecting a more important job. I told a friend, said, hey, and my mom confirmed it, and without me even asking the question, like, if I had to sum up from an outside perspective, I know she's my mom, so I have a bias to it, obviously. What is my mom's greatest accomplishment? Because now she's a businesswoman. You know, she teaches you. She's taught for 20 plus years, homeschooled at private school and public school and all this stuff. Now that pivoted to tutorial services. So she still helps kids. That's like part of who she is. But I'm like, what would my mom's greatest accomplishment be? Would it be a business shark going out in the world and tackling marketing and this, that? No, it would be raising a successful family, a son who's an entrepreneur. All her kids broke the cycle of none of us live in poverty now. So we broke that first cycle. Now we're thinking about what the next step is for our nieces, nephews, sons, daughters. It's like, that's a hard cycle to break. And if you had to tell my mom, like, oh, you were a stay-at-home mom, I would fight you for that. You know? You would downplay what she did for multiple the family jobs. Role. She did multiple jobs. I literally saw her have a conversation with some ladies the other day. She's like, oh, my God, my husband came home. I rubbed his feet. I ironed his stuff, put it in it. And she's like, with joy. Because she know that dude's out there working. In a factory job. Like, so like, you're like, oh, they want to downplay this. It's like, guess what? Because when you have your job, you're going to hire somebody daycare to watch your children. You're going to hire somebody to cook the food. So how are you demeaning one thing, but it's like, it's a part of life.
And then you're also working to just pay more bills. Like, you're just working to pay for daycare. You're working to pay for a chef. Like,
you're trading your time for money so that you can give it to someone else.
And you know, we agree a lot. Like, our upbringing was very similar without us even knowing it until we lived together and we started talking about our childhood, and we were like,
you made your mom cry twice too?
Probably more than twice.
But the truth comes out.
Probably more than twice.
I won something. I won that something.
Probably more than twice. But I mean, she did her best to raise us. Like, you know, my dad, you know, I've talked very open about this. Like, my dad was very in and out of my life because of their relationship, you know, but like my dad always came back. Yeah. You know, he always came back home, and he was the man that I needed to see at the time that I needed him. At pivotal moments in my life, my dad was there. And I saw, just like his dad, it's insane how similar they are. My dad's from New York. My dad's an old school black dude. He don't fucking cry. He fucking works. He don't complain. I remember my dad having 2 jobs. One of them, he would work early in the morning before his main job, you know? Worked in a factory, cut grass for a long time, all the hard shit. Never came home and said, man, I'm tired. I don't want to do this no more. He just fucking went to work. Yeah. And that's what he did. And that's what I saw, and that's what I got from my dad. You know, my dad used to like quote movies and stuff because he's big on movies. Yeah, and I love movies. And he would always say this when I was younger, and I didn't know where it was from, but he would say, "A man only has 2 things in his world, his word and his balls, and you don't break those for nobody." And I was like, "Man, that's some cold shit." And then I was like, "Wait a minute." That's Scarface. That's Scarface. Yeah, that's fucking Scarface. I was like, but for him to portray that to me, like as a young man, dude, I needed that.
I mean, but you probably lived a Scarface childhood with that kind of example there.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, Scarface, he was in and out of his family's life.
Yeah.
Providing.
Yeah.
What is masculinity? What does a man do? Provides.
Provide.
Is there whenever a son needs him.
Yep.
But make sure that he's the example. And what does the example do? What he needs to do.
Absolutely.
And he didn't break his word, but I bet you he's busting his balls.
Yeah. my dad got 5 kids. So.
My dad got 8.
Yeah.
Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Yeah, for sure. Papa was a Rolling Stone. For sure. So
but,
yeah.
You know, it's different, man. Like our childhood, you know, like when we see it now and we look back at it as men, I mean, we pull some good qualities out of this stuff, man. And I'm not gonna we're not bad mouthing our parents here.
No,
they worked their asses off.
Absolutely.
And they gave us an opportunity to be somebody different.
Yep.
And you know, that to me, I don't take that lightly. I grew up in cockroach-infested places, man. These hotels they carry your bags away.
Where my bag go? You gotta start paying rent.
Yeah,
you been here too long.
There's some stuff, man. It's just, you know, I grew up. My dad was in the Army. We don't get paid much in the Army, so whenever we go from place to place to place, I didn't have a friend group. Yeah, you know, so I had a whole bunch of people that were like me, but not really like me. Knew I was temporary. It was a different kind of environment, but my dad was there when I needed him.
Absolutely.
You know, that's important, and that's the only thing a man can do.
That's it.
The statistics, man, I see them all over the place. I don't know what's true anymore, but there's some statistics that say if a man is in a child's life, they're like 90% chance that they ain't gonna mess it up.
Yeah,
you know, and it's the same statistic for men and women. It's the man that holds down the family, but nobody wants to talk about that. They want to talk about how hard it is for, you know, life to be the way it is. Shut up, man. It's like everyone's been doing it.
We talk about you talk about like quotes. One of my mom's favorite quotes is, "I'm not part of the solution, you're part of the problem." So it's like, are we gonna keep talking about what's wrong? Because the more we talk about it, we just emphasizing what's wrong. Like, what are the things we're gonna do to fix it? And I always think that people think solutions are problemless. There's no problem-free solution. You just have to choose what problems you're willing to deal with. It's a relationship when you date someone. No one's perfect, right? But I'm willing to accept these things in you, and you're willing to accept these things in me, so we can make something better. And like, you talk about society, and they can say, okay, well, look at every different type of social aspect you have, from dictatorship to communism to democracy, and everybody says, well, that one doesn't. It's like, yeah, there's no one that's gonna. Where's the utopia? You show me in history. Where's the utopia?
It don't work like that.
It will never be. It will never be a problem-free solution.
Yeah, well, the world is made for problems, man, and the reason why we're in it is to try to come up with solutions. And this is why I love living here, guys.
Yeah,
I mean, you guys are both in the fighting game. Yeah, we are a huge fighting state here in Arizona, and I get to see some amazing things happen on a stage with people who have different minds like yours.
Absolutely.
So I thank you for a little bit opening your childhood to me. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, man.
Stay with us as we stay on target with another awesome episode coming up next. We'll see you there. And subscribe to Targeted now. As an ambassador to buckedup.com, I get to give you our special discount. That's Atlas 25 when you go to buckedup.com to get that special discount. Only for our listeners, Atlas 25. Go to buckedup.com now.